The corn tortilla is the original flatbread, invented, legend has it, thousands of years ago by a Mayan peasant to feed his king. A royal appetite may have been the inspiration for this unleavened creation, but it soon gained mass appeal and became a staple of the Mexican diet. The corn tortilla has been popular for thousands of years. In the last century, demand has grown as people in many countries acquire a taste for Tex-Mex cuisine, like tacos, enchiladas, and nachos. Corn tortillas are now mass-produced in factories, and the process starts with grade A corn, dehusked and removed from the cob. There are millions of kernels in one truckload. They unload onto an elevator that takes them several stories up to deposit them in a silo. They're stored here until the factory is ready to start production. They then spill out of the silo and into big steel cooking vats. A worker adds water, completely immersing the corn. He activates a steam injection heating system. And as the temperature rises, he tosses in numerous scoops of powdered limestone. It acts as a preservative and helps soften the kernels during cooking. As they soften, the outer skin or pericarp loosens, releasing starch and creating a foamy effect. After 45 minutes, they turn off the heat and the corn steeps for 8 hours. With the kernels softened even more by the long soak, it's time to wash off a lot of the loosened pericarp. A little pericarp still clings to the cooked corn, but that's part of the plan. It will act as a bonding agent when the corn is shaped into tortillas. The corn now funnels into a spiraling blade that delivers it to a grinder. They add water and a preservative. The auger moves the ingredients between two volcanic stones that grind everything into a corn mash. The mash has a grainy texture similar to couscous. That changes when they press it through an extruder. The extruding kneads it into a dough called masa. As the masa exits the machine, it's collected by a worker. He transfers the corn dough to a machine called a pre-sheeter. Here, automated paddles push the masa between two sets of rollers. The rollers press it into a thick sheet. The sheet of dough travels through another machine called the sheeter cutter. In this machine, more rollers squeeze the dough paper thin as a die cuts out round tortilla shapes. They roll and cut 84,000 tortillas an hour on the sheet cutter. Another big roller takes up the matrix to be reused in the next batch of dough as the cut tortillas head into the oven. Once inside, the tortillas zigzag back and forth on 3 tiers of conveyors. The lowest tier has the lowest temperature, and the top tier the highest. This 3-tiered approach gradually bakes the tortillas in just 21 seconds, producing corn tortillas with just the right consistency. A vacuum system suctions the tortillas to the next conveyor to keep them from falling off as they now head to a cooling station. Here, the tortillas again move to and fro, this time on 9 conveyor tiers to cool. From a handful of corn kernels to a piece of round unleavened bread. Once the corn has been cooked, the transformation happens in just minutes. Whether the tortilla is made from white corn, yellow corn, or dyed other colors, the taste will be much the same. Exiting the cooling zone, the tortillas move into lanes. These lanes orient the tortillas in single file so they land in slots and stack up neatly. A sensor keeps a running count, and when there's a pile of 40, a trapdoor opens and sends them to the packaging line. These tortillas are now ready to add a little Latin sizzle to the menu. Packaged in stacks of 80, they're headed for restaurants and cafeterias. Fried, steamed, or just warmed in the oven, when they start adding the fillings, things could get spicy.